first track is the Stage 1 theme from Nemesis. This is a shoot 'em up game that I find surprisingly fun, considering shoot 'em ups are not my thing. This game has a little bit of history to me because I streamed it a few years ago when I was a live entertainer. And my abiding memory of playing, obviously Gradius, not Nemesis, but it's the same thing, was having my rabid and judgmental community screaming that options are clones in my chat. I get it now. I get what option. I get the option thing. It's one of the power-ups. I get that. I get it. And that was a tough night that I've never quite got over. Options are clones has become almost one of my catchphrases because I'm almost permanently damaged by the memory of that troubling evening. So I guess that's a few years ago really, so technically that counts as a bit of a nostalgic element, which is something I always consider when thinking about these tracks. It's a pretty good track. I'm not crazy about it, but it's well put together. It does allow me to tell the options a clone story, which is the most important thing, really. It's kind of why it's in this list. Why do you turn off the auto shoot? Do you like tendinitis in your thumb? Ha 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 ha, just kidding. Would I put this in the Clio? The Clio mixtape? No, this would not get on a Clio mixtape. It's fine, I just wanted to tell the options a clone story. So just to explain, this is a top 18. I know, how ridiculous. A top 18. And this is track 18. So onwards and upwards. Track 17 is Sticker Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Land 2. Obviously, this is in here because this is a track that has really grown on me from making the Super Nintendo music series. During that series, I was using this as almost the theme tune. And by the end of that series, I kind of wondered if I could have found a place for it in the list. I mean, I easily could have. Obviously, Aquatic Ambience was number 1 in my iconic SNES Tunes series. And in tribute to that, I've made the Game Boy Aquatic Ambience, or Waterworld tune, the theme this time, and Sticker Brush Symphony finally, rightfully gets its place in the spotlight. In terms of nostalgia, can you be nostalgic for something that was like 6 weeks ago? Apparently you can. I absolutely feel nostalgia. This is a great track. This is going on the Clio tape. I just realised my cat's collar's come off. In at number 16 is Main Theme from Populous. When making this series, I capture footage of me playing these games, and Populous's theme is fantastic. It's the only music on that game, but it's iconic. But I can't help but point out, and I know that people like and enjoy console Populous, but I have mentioned this before, and if anything, it's worse on the Game Boy. It is excruciating trying to play Populous on Game Boy. It's an insane idea for a port. I'm bewildered how anyone has ever spent any time on it, and I've seen playthroughs. Someone has played the whole thing, and I am in awe of them for that, because that is dedication when you could just play the PC version or Amiga version, not the ST version. I have nostalgia for Populous. It's one of my favourite old games. Brilliant game. I must play level 2 sometime. It'd be quite odd to put this on a tape, but the Clio tape meme is being stretched beyond credulity right now, so we're going to say, yeah, this is going on. And I need to find my cat's collar. I'm not optimistic. Imagine this is extremely familiar to most Game Boy gamers. I haven't played Link's Awakening that much, but this theme is prevalent on many Zelda games, and it's iconic without question. It deserves to be on here. It's absolute nostalgia, takes me right back. I really admire how Zelda has a sort of format to its games that it sticks to. It does innovate and it adds things, takes things away, but generally it's consistent in tone. I just wish I was more into it. I'm playing Breath of the Wild at the moment, and that is actually one I am getting deeply into. As you might be able to hear, or not, from the jingling, we have replaced the cat collar. I think he was keen to give you all an update on that. Iconic as it is, I obviously don't really consider it a piece of music I would want to go out of my way to listen to. It deserves to be on this list. In at number 14, Kirby's Dream Land, Stage 2 Castle. Kirby's Dream Land is a game I didn't play when I was young. I played it only in the last few years and started doing what I would call a very mild version of a speedrun of it. It's a really nice game to run. Jingle Cat's back. It's a really nice game to speedrun. It's just a really nice game to play. It's short. The one on the NES is way too long. It's not particularly hard, but the bosses are quite satisfying to fight. Zero nostalgia, of course, because it's a game I didn't start playing till my 40s. Is that even possible? The summer. River. My French friend. Game Boy. Kirby's. No batteries. Goosebumps. A lot to unpack there. I think this particular theme on this level is absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant. Probably I've put it too low in this order. It's a fantastic piece of music. It's a bit kind of odd. I wouldn't listen to it like for fun, but you know what? We're going to have to give a bit of leeway here, and we're going to put this in the car. This is going in the car. It's worth it. The final track this week, In, at number, hang on, 13, is Star Wars, the Speeder section. Why? Well, let me tell you why. If you consider the majesty of John Williams' original Star Wars score, that classic theme, the way they used classical music to score that film, making it immediately classical in every sense of the word, timeless in fact. It's such an ingenious choice to go with that style of music. So with the Game Boy game and NES game, they've done this like weird jazzy thing, and not in a cool Castlevania way, in a freaking terrible way. This is in here because I just don't understand what the thought process was. When you go into kind of the first level, which is in the cave, again, the music in there is just as stupid. This music is crap. This is an insult to Star Wars. I don't like this game either. I find it weird and hard. And Super Star Wars is hard, but I really like Super Star Wars. I don't like this. So why is it on here? Why is it ahead of Kirby? Because, you know what, it's just a list and it's just a bit of fun, and I'm mixing it up a bit. But it is stupid. What a stupid choice. Obviously it's not going in the Clio. However, at least I found the run button this time, which meant that I could actually jump a bit further. It still doesn't make the game better. Apparently you can finish it in just over half an hour. Street Fighter 2. Now you may think Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy is a wildly ambitious idea, but I first had Street Fighter 2 on the Atari ST. So this was magnificent in comparison. It's not that great though, but the Sagat theme is pretty cool. It's one I kind of wish I had done on my SNES series, but I had a kind of one track per game rule, except for Castlevania. So that's why it is what it is. Street Fighter 2. It played pretty It's not great to play on Game Boy, but it was okay. It's fun. As a kid, I probably would have loved it, but I don't remember even being aware of it on the Game Boy as an option. Would definitely put the SNES version of Sagat's theme in the Clio. We are just outside the top 10 at number 11, and again, I was asked the other day why have I included stuff that I don't actually think is good. Well, this is sort of the opposite. The Lemmings music's lovely, it's great fun, very bouncy, and Lemmings is just a fantastic game. I found it just impossible to play on Game Boy. But there's a game coming up later in the series that makes me forgive Lemmings for all its flaws. It's not bad, and I am in awe of the person that has done an entire 5-hour, 10-minute playthrough on YouTube of this game. That is incredible. It's a huge nostalgic buzz for me, Lemmings. This is not the version I would choose to play. And no, I wouldn't listen to Lemmings music in my car. Of course not. We're into the top 10 with an actual iconic piece of music from an absolutely iconic game, Prince of Persia. One of my favourite games. Brilliant on the PC, of course, and the Apple II, I guess, and just many versions of it exist on different platforms, but the Game Boy one is one of the good ones. It's a really well made port, and I would recommend it. It's got big nostalgia for me. Where you get Prince of Persia? I'm not entirely sure if Prince of Persia gets on the Clio tape. Certainly not the Game Boy version. So I guess that's it, isn't it? That's the end of the conversation, because this is about the Game Boy. No matter how much I try and twist it and stretch the parameters of this. Again, with all these games, I'm sort of keen to point out how ambitious these ports are. I actually think this Prince of Persia port is kind of ugly looking, but it's still a great game. Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy looks pretty great, and Lemmings, you know, they've adapted the hell out of it. So I just am quietly in awe of all these games from a graphical perspective. Oh no, this week the dog is trying to join in as co-commentator, so sorry about Yoshi. That's my dog, not a dinosaur. And this episode this week has just made me realise how much I just want to do a Game Boy series anyway, just celebrating it, because it's just an amazing console. And in at number 9 is R-Type. As soon as you boot up R-Type, it's got just kick-ass music. Much like when you boot up the SNES version. It's just a really cool shoot 'em up. I don't really have a lot of time for shoot 'em ups, but this is such a good game, and I really played the hell out of this to record footage for this video. I don't need that much footage, but I just played the hell out of it because it was really good. And I have great memories of the SNES version as a kid, but this is a lovely effort. Really well done, everyone. Well done, I'm proud of you all. Good job. The battle theme is cool. I guess I would put this in the Clio. Yeah, let's do it. Let's put this one in. In at number 8 is a genuinely brilliant piece of music from the game Worms. Worms' theme tune is really cool. Makes me think of my idiotic friends at school singing the Worms song a lot. And we're not talking about young kids, we're talking about 15, 16-year-olds. But as much as I would judge them silently, there's no doubting it's a corker of a tune, and Worms was a just amazing game. But I have to say, and someone could argue with this, I think it's terrible on a Game Boy. It is unplayable. I found it so annoying. They have worked so hard to make it work with all the button combos, so that you can do everything you need to do in Worms, but my goodness me, the ambition of taking a few of these mouse-based games and trying to fit them into these handheld consoles, just wild. So Lemmings, I take it all back, Lemmings is masterfully ported compared to this. Because of the aforementioned misery of my mid-teens listening to friends unironically singing this song and talking in tiny baby worm voices, I'm afraid this cannot go on the mixtape, and I apologise to everyone from that era who I have long since shunned. We are really getting into it now. In at number 7 is DuckTales, that very, very iconic moon music. That's what it's called, right? Moon music. Anyway, this is one of those classic Nintendo platform games that on the NES I have had a great time with. I've got a reasonable speedrun time on this, which is just under 10 minutes, which is not mind-blowing, but it's competitive, it's not embarrassing, and mastering the going through the wall glitch is really the fun of doing the DuckTales speedrun, because that's the entire challenge, and it's at the end of this level, which is just a brilliant level anyway. But in the Game Boy one, I think you have to go up into the spaceship, so it's still great music, but you don't have that glitch, so obviously I'm going to play the NES version, which is the opposite of Little Mermaid, where I actually prefer to play the Little Mermaid on Game Boy. And yes, I am a grown man, and I like to play Little Mermaid. What are you going to do? I think, given the more loose rules we've got around this Game Boy series, we're going to put the DuckTales space song, the Moon Music space song, which is definitely what it's called, we're going to put that on the Clio tape. We're going to put it on the Clio, put it on top of the Clio, drive off. Getting exciting now. In at number 6, Nintendo World Cup. This music is fun and memorable and just bouncy fun, isn't it? We all like some bouncy fun. I really wanted to include this. This is one of my favourite games. I appreciate sometimes that football games are not maybe the most popular amongst retro video game enthusiasts, but I'm a big football fan and I do like my old retro games based on the beautiful game. Nintendo World Cup was a game I distinctly remember playing in the back of my parents' car on a long drive. But I basically have this memory that I actually played in a football tournament, and it was on the drive back. I played Nintendo World Cup for the first time, and I thought it was really strange because it was super physical, and I never really appreciated at the time just how great the characterization was. It's a really fun game, doing those super shots. It's really fun. It's totally worth your time if you want to play a retro football game that's a little bit odd. Sure, it's better on the NES, but this is a really good game. This is probably the best handheld football game, certainly until the PSP came out, I would imagine. Spectacular game. I played it on the NES. Cameroon is always the first rival. Daddy for the parrot. Does this go in the Clio? I'm not sure. It's the irony that I played this in the car. Makes me feel like it belongs in the car. These are all going on now. I know it ruins the suspense, but we're talking about my favourite games for one of my favourite systems now, so you're just going to have to live with it. That seemed weirdly confrontational, and I don't know why. In to the top 5. And in at 5, The Batman. Again, I love Batman. There are some great Batman games, and I think this game is superb. I can't actually get to the end of it because there's a really, really, really horrible side-scrolling shooting bit, and everyone who's played this game will know what I'm talking about. So after all the really cool platforming and shooting areas, which I can do, and it's challenging but great fun, absolutely love the layout. It reminds me a bit of Super Mario Land in that They do the tiny graphics, and I quite like the tiny graphics. But at the end of quite a long session of platforming, you get this flying and shooting bit, and at the end of that there's this boss, and it's just awful. Not awful, it's probably justifiable, but I just can't beat it. However, I still play this all the time. That's not an exaggeration. I really love this game. I had it as a kid and I love it now, and I am quite the platforming jumping connoisseur. The Goldberg Good Jumping Index is something that someday we need to publish as a YouTube series. I like good jumping, that's why I did 5 episodes on Love 2. This might have the best jumping that I've played in a platform game. They should call this game Tiny Batman. I love you, Tiny Batman, so small. As mentioned, this is going in the car, they all are now. Just accept it. Lean into it. Just outside the top 3, in at number 4, the iconic, possibly the most iconic Game Boy game of all time, Tetris. I'm not quite sure how you would even talk about Tetris now. I'll tell you how I'm going to talk about Tetris though. I was sat on a coach on a school trip, and my friend was playing Tetris, and we were sort of taking turns. And he did such a long session on Tetris where he was doing so well that I ripped the Game Boy out of his hands, and he just kept punching and punching my arms in fury. It really shows just how passionate people are about this game. It is addictive. It's quite the game, isn't it? I would strongly recommend you play the 25 line game type, because then everyone gets a turn. So there, Dave. All these music pieces are nice, but I choose type C when I play this game. It is based on French Suite number 3 in B minor. I just happen to know that off the top of my head. No biggie. By Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach. Iconic game. It is really hard to find things to say about Tetris, for God's sake. It's, well, in at number 3, Castlevania. Belmont's Revenge. Once again, Castlevania places high in a music list for a series I've made. Belmont's Revenge is the second Game Boy game for Castlevania, and far better than Castlevania Adventure, which is not fun. Not a good game. Don't like it. My favourite track from this game is the Praying Hands track from the Cloud Castle level. It's a really good set of songs again from Castlevania. Every time they seem to just crush it. The Konami, they really nail it with their Castlevania music. They just get it, and this is no exception. It is well worth listening to. Before I had a Game Boy, I was at school, and I seem to remember, I want to say it was David, but not the David from the last episode. This was a good David. This was the last episode, that was the anti-David. This was the pure David. And he was playing Castlevania on his Game Boy. And if you think about that tiny green screen with the rubbish lighting, I just remember watching over his shoulder and just being mesmerised, watching this little man flicking the candles with his lightsaber. What? With his whip. Wow, that was I can't get over the speeder music on Star Wars. I just can't get past that. The little man flicking the candles with his whip and just being captivated by the tiny sprites. And later Game Boy games, they sort of went bigger with the sprites, and it was probably for the better. They had the capability and it worked. I think if you went too big, there's not enough screen space for you to do it, but mostly, yeah, bigger sprites are fine. But this game and Batman and Super Mario Land 1 are examples of how little minimalist sprites work really well on the Game Boy. As threatened in the last episode, everything's going on the tape now. This game was an absolute beast to finish. I really struggled with the ending, the double bosses at the end. It was rough, but it was so worth it. It's one of my favourite streaming memories, doing Belmont's Revenge. The next two games are not streaming memories at all, they are proper childhood games. In at number 2, Super Mario Land. Gotta love how the boss sounds like Mick Jagger when he gets hit. Trust me, when I first read that comment, I'm like, what? They're right. Play the game. Fight the boss. I'm not here to do your research for you. Go and look into it. The bosses sound like Mick Jagger when you hit them. I don't know how I feel about this. So if any of you have a real problem with the Rolling Stones, this could be a really cathartic way to work through that emotion. Super Mario Land, otherwise, if we move on from the Mick Jagger, the key theme, which is Mick Jagger, if we move past that, Super Mario Land was my first Game Boy game, and my first Mario game. Sorry, my voice cracked then, I didn't mean to get so emotional. It was my first Mario game. And obviously the first Mario game I beat as well, and it's quite hard, but it's not brutally hard. I think the jumping is a bit slippy at times, but it's absolutely beatable, and I play it all the time. We are years down the line, decades down the line, I still play this game. I still like to play it and finish it, and it doesn't take long. Let's say half an hour if I'm a bit casual and dying a lot. It's a perfect length gaming session, and if you beat it and you're feeling really hardcore, it then goes into like master mode and you can play it through again, and it's still beatable, and I still did beat it again, and that's not bragging. I just think it's a nicely balanced difficulty. It's not horrible, it's not cruel. So the music from the watery level, that's the one that always stands out for me. It's so wrapped up now in nostalgia, I cannot separate the nostalgia from the reality. For me now it's just a perfect piece of video game music. So it goes into the Clio. So that's it, we've come to the end of the list. From 18 down to 2. I would give you a reminder of the rundown, but I can't bloody remember what the others were. Don't be silly. But that just leaves us with number 1. So what won? What game kept speeder music from Star Wars off top spot? Why did you press start? I was listening to that. Exactly. The best bit of the Robocop game is the title music. It's absolutely sensational, isn't it? I know it's a bit of a cliche to choose this. I feel like everyone chooses this. I might be wrong. Sometimes the heaving masses of the unclean are actually correct in their opinion. Not often, but this time I think they are. Robocop by Jonathan Dunn is an absolute masterpiece. I would not bother playing the game. I have played the game, I find it so hard now. And the horrible thing is, I had it on the Spectrum as a small boy. And on the Spectrum, as a tiny child, I could get through the first level and get to the bit where it says, "Attack in progress, rescue the woman," and do the bit where you have to shoot the hostage taker in first person. I remember my mind being blown by that first person sequence. I could do that as a small idiotic child, and yet now I can't even get there. I just not have the patience? Are my limbs now just so gnarled and withered by the cruelty of my advancing years? I don't know what it is, but as a result I don't really play Robocop now. But this music, along with Aquatic Ambience on the SNES and the Castlevania SNES music, has unironically appeared on my generic music app in the past. Out of choice, I've wanted to listen to these. But the point I'm trying to make is this is music I like anyway. In terms of Game Boy music, I don't think anything beats this. This is number one. Robocop, Jonathan Dunn is number one. Well done. You did it. Thank you everyone for... I'd like to come back to Game Boy again, for sure. Very soon. I've really enjoyed this more than anything I've done. And it's been well worth it. So thank you. Please like and subscribe. Let's keep the lights on. And I will see you next time for some other wacky idea.